there, Agile Adventurer. Just a quick question. What if, for the price of a fancy coffee or half a pizza, you could unlock over 700 hours of the best Agile content on the planet? That's audio, video, e-courses, books, presentations, all that you can think of. But you can also join live calls with world-class practitioners and hang out in a flame war-free and AI slop-clean Slack with the sharpest minds in the game. Oh, and yes, you get direct access to me, Vasco, your Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. No, this is not a drill. It's the Scrum Master Toolbox membership. And it's your unfair advantage in the Agile world. So if you want to know more, go check out scrummastertoolbox.org/membership. That's scrummastertoolbox.org/membership. And check out all the goodies we have for you. Do it now. But if you're not doing it now, let's listen to the podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to one more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. And this week, joining us from beautiful Italy is Irene Castagnotto. Hey, Irene. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. So let me tell a little bit about Irene. She's a self-titled Gen Z Italian Scrum Master, began her Agile journey at a young age with a positive and passionate approach. She aims to help her generation navigate the world of work with confidence and serenity while supporting teams in unlocking their full potential. And that's a job, definitely, that needs to be done, Irene. So that was a short intro. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and how did you end up becoming a Scrum Master?
Oh, well, that's a funny story, actually, because it was very natural because I'm very young, as you said before, and thank you for the beautiful words that you just said. But when I was younger than now, I was a competitive dancer. And at some point I stopped. Because of a lot of reasons, and I was bored. So basically, one day I was talking with my dad, which actually works in the Agile world, and he was doing a lot of events in the weekends connected to the Agile. And I was like, okay, Dad, I'm bored. Can I come with you? And I was like 15, 16 years old. He was like, yes, of course. So that's the first time I met the Agile world, actually. And I was very enthusiastic because I was seeing these people that were older than me working, but having fun at the same time. So that's what amazed me at the moment. And I started started going with him to the events, meeting people, and that actually led to a lot of meeting a lot of people that actually were then useful in my journey, and that I'm very grateful about. Because then I went to the university and I was doing management. But at that time, I didn't know that I wanted to be a Scrum Master. I was just doing weekend with my dad and doing also sometimes daughter and dad bonding moment. So it was basically it. I was just having fun and discovering new things. But then when I was in the university, I was doing management and I saw like there was this project manager program. So I was like, okay, let's see what it is. And then I discovered that from project management, there is Agile connected and also the Scrum Master role. So that's why I understood I wanted to be a Scrum Master. And thanks for the events that I was going to when I was little. I met Marco Calzolari, which is one Agile coach that's working in Italy, and I did an internship with him. So that's basically where it all started.
So you started very young first, just as a curiosity, and then decided that, hey, maybe this is something for me. And it's interesting how all of us come to this profession with quite different backgrounds, right? Like some people come from engineering. There's a lot of us that come from engineering. Some people come from all kinds of other areas and industries and then find out that actually Scrum Master is a calling. And I think that you are the first teenager Scrum Master that we've ever had on the podcast. So kudos to you. And you never know how you find these professions, right? Like the professions we end up being in for many years in our lives. But this is a very interesting story. And I'm also interested in how you put together immediately this concept of working hard but having fun at the same time, right? Because a lot of us who have been in the profession for a long time, we noticed that shift. We noticed when software development was painful and filled with problems and impossible to stand with long days and even weekends working without stopping. And then the discovery of Agile that for many of us was a little bit like you described, the discovery of having fun and working at the same time. So I'm interested in here the answer you have to the next question, which is, of course, the fail story. Because no matter how old we are, when we start doing something, we end up failing at it. Not because we're bad, but just because we're learning, right? And that's an important step, an important growth step for all of us. So Irene, tell us that story of a difficult moment you had as a Scrum Master. We'll dive into the takeaways and the tips later, but tell us that story first.
Mm-hmm. So the moment I had, it was very difficult to stand by. They were actually two moments, but both of them because I was new to the world of work, basically. So I'm always be very curious and very proactive. But this time wasn't at my favor. It wasn't doing me a favor being very proactive, because it was this time that the POs were actually having some changes in their role. And I was looking from behind these kind of changes, but I was thinking, but they are not happy. They are struggling with that. But they didn't ask me to help them. And I decided that it was time to ask and offer myself to give them an help, to be a facilitator of this story, which actually ended in, of course, they were very excited about it. They accepted. And I tried to help them understand which changes were good, which changes weren't good, how can we deal with the management, understand if we can propose something different. But in the end, when we tried to do this meeting and also when we faced the management, I understood that the changes that I wanted to apply weren't the changes that the PO wanted to apply, because they were not at the moment that they really realized what was happening. Because of course I can see from an external point of view, but they are living in an internal side of the topic. So that's when I understood that I did a step that was wrong, because in the end my help was not helpful. I was just putting question, asking questions that they didn't want to face at the moment, or they did not feel ready. Maybe they knew that this was the point, but they were not asking me to help them. So this is one story where I actually understood, okay, if you don't have to push changes, you have just to guide them. And it's very stupid if I think about it, because of course you don't have to push changes. But at the moment I was like, guys, you are not in a good situation. Can I help you?
Actually, that's a very good story for us to explore the real role of the Scrum Master, because as you said, like, we shouldn't be pushing changes. People will take on the changes that they feel ready to take on. Right. And of course, we're looking at it from the outside and we see things differently. And maybe we also have different priorities. Many of the priorities we have are not necessarily spoken out loud, and that may cause conflict. So I want to concentrate on that moment when you realized that the changes you wanted to happen were not the changes that the POs wanted to happen. When you realized that, how did you react? Like, what was your reaction at that moment?
But I realized that when we were in this meeting and they were not speaking up. So I was asking question, and also I was bringing up topics, and they were like, "Okay, that's fine for me. I don't have anything to add." And I was like, "But yesterday, I wasn't, of course, saying it out loud, but in my mind was like, but yesterday at the coffee, I listened to you. You were saying that you didn't like it. So why you are now saying that for you, it's okay?" And maybe it was because they didn't want to actually do actual changes because they were not ready to do it. They need some time to understand what was happening. So I did a step back and I said to them, "Okay, is there something that you would like to speak about?" And they started talking about something a little bit different that was connected, but it was a step behind and not a step forward. So that led us to make a small change, but it wasn't the change that I was expecting. But I asked them, "What do you want to talk about? Because I'm here for a reason." Because we all agree that these changes could be difficult for you to understand, to deal with, and also maybe you don't want them, some of them, or you like some and some not. So that's basically was it. I did a step back.
Yeah, that's actually a great point, because when we do that step back, we allow others to take the lead. And that, from a change perspective, that's very important, because we can't tell others what they need to do. We can help them realize what they need to do, but they need to realize it, right? Like the way I usually put it is that not even the people who want to change are always able to change. So you better start from the perspective that they want to change, because if you don't, then obviously they will resist it, right? Like what we usually talk about, that change brings resistance, is because the people don't want those changes. And I want to highlight that kind of solution, if you will, that you applied at that time, which is to step back and ask, okay, but what is it that you want to talk about, right? And I think that's very important for us as Scrum Masters to do that step back, open the discussion again, and let people come up with those topics that are the changes they are ready to take on, right?
Yeah, that's true. Totally true. And sometimes this is a mistake that I did, but I think it's because sometimes I have to realize that some problems I can see them, but not all the people can at that moment see and actually understand the problem. And that's because, of course, I'm kind of external, because it's not through dynamic, I'm external, but I have eyes to look from the outside. So that's the point, dealing with seeing the problem and dealing with the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a very good point. We have to open up the space. They know what they need to change. We have a different perspective. We're not the ones doing their work, right? Mm-hmm. They need to be the ones bringing it up. That was a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing that, Irene.
Thank you.
All right, I hope you liked this episode. But before you hit next episode, here's the deal. This podcast is powered by people like you, the members who wanted more than just inspiration. They wanted real tools and real connection to people who are practicing Agile every day. We're talking access to over 700 hours of Agile Gold, CTO level strategy talks, summit keynotes, live workshops, e-courses, deep dive interviews, books, and if you're into no estimates, we got the pioneers of no estimates in those deep dive interviews as well. Agile business intelligence, creating product visions, coaching your product owner courses, you name it. You'll get invites to monthly live Q&As with Agile pioneers and practitioners, plus a private Slack community, which is free of all of that AI slop you see everywhere, and of course, without the flame wars. It's a community of practitioners that want to learn and thrive together. It's the best place to connect with community and learn together. So if this podcast has helped you before, imagine what you will get from this podcast membership. So head on over to scrummastertoolbox.org/membership and join the community that's shaping the future of Agile. And we have so much for you. So check out all the details at scrummastertoolbox.org/membership, because listening is great, it's important, but doing it together, that's next level. I'll see you in the community Slack.
We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.